No, it did not zoom in this whole time, bro. What the heck? Are you kidding me? This is the same thing that happened to me the last time. Oh my God. I don't even know what got ruined. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kristen. This is Kristen's Butterfly Effect. I make videos for young women who are looking to live more fulfilling lives. Here on my channel, we talk about the good, the bad, and the beautiful. So if any of that interests you, stay tuned. It's December, we're closing out the year, and it's a great opportunity to slow down and really reflect on what 2025 had to bring you. I really like this time of year because number one, I love Christmas and I love the holidays. It's probably my second favorite holiday right after my birthday. So my camera zoomed in and I basically had to re record 10 minutes of content. Okay, take two. This time of the year, I am making space or being intentional about slowing down and giving myself the opportunity to reflect. Usually around December, January is when I really like to think about what I want the next year to be. I know it's a little controversial. Some people like to do that leading into the last quarter of the year so that they can hit the ground running in January. But I really like to take the whole month of January to just slow down and be thoughtful about what I want the year to be like. I don't feel like it's a waste of a month for me personally because I like to really be quiet, sit with my thoughts, reflect, think about what I need in my life, what do I want from myself, what is God calling me to in this upcoming year, and I'm okay with that. I don't have to be on other people's, schedule of when is the right time and when isn't the right time. So choose what works for you. If slowing down in December and January works for you, great. But really, I want to encourage you to make a practice of slowing down, even in the small moments of your day to day life. In today's society, it's really easy to be plugged up to something every waking moment, whether it's your phone or your laptop for work or the television. It's so easy to just get caught up in a book, even. It's so easy to get caught up in everything else going on and not really taking time to slow down and check in on yourself. So, what I like to do here in California, the skies are really blue, although they're fading right now, and I really don't want the lighting to be bad on this video, but the skies are really blue. And sometimes I like to lay on my bed or on the couch and really just look up at the sky and think about whatever comes to mind. Just allow myself the space to breathe. And in those moments, I feel so refreshed and rejuvenated, even if I'm only there for like 10 minutes, but it feels way better than forcing my brain into processing other information or new information. And it helps to ground me and really helps me to think about where I've come, where I'm going, what I'm doing in this present moment. And as someone who previously was go, 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 never really had the opportunity or never really took the opportunity to slow down, celebrate myself, think about all the ways that reaching the goals that I've set out to reach, it's very important for me to slow down. And so, if you're like me and you also need that space, I really encourage you to just take a moment to breathe. Don't try to link yourself up to anything. Put your phone away, your iPad, your TV, whatever, and just stare at the ceiling. If you don't have access to blue skies or whatever, stare at the ceiling, stare at a wall, do really something mundane, like virtually nothing, and just allow your mind to wander. I think it gives your brain a chance to breathe. And this is important because it really gives you the space to think and reflect on how something is impacting you or has impacted you before you speak or before you act on something. I really am trying to focus, and God really encourages us to be, slow to anger, be, have temperance or exhibit temperance and self control. And this is a way that I can do that. I I would say I'm pretty controlled, but sometimes, we're human. We're going to make irrational decisions or irrational actions. And I think to prevent that, it really is important to take a moment to think and slow down and give yourself a chance to take a deep breath before you do something that you may regret or is out of line of the character that you seek to become. One of the ways that I've done this is, so I'm a really big reader and I really like finishing a book and then going into my next book. I get that thrill of like marking a book completed, writing a review, and then cracking open the next one. It's like one story closed, another story opens. It's really easy to get caught up in the act of just reading and trying to complete your reading goal when really you need to sit with the stories that you read. I guess you don't need to, but I think it's important to sit with the stories that you read. That author took a painstaking amount of time to create art and put art out into this world. And we owe it to the artwork, even if not to the author, to really let it resonate and think about what we've learned from it. I never read self help books. I always read fiction or historical fiction, sometimes literary fiction, more often than not, 99% of the time, 98% of the time, I'm reading a fiction piece of work. And that doesn't mean that the stories are fake or meaningless or don't have anything to teach you, but you won't catch the lesson if you're too busy just trying to finish the book to move on to the next one. And this past year, I read Their Eyes Are Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston, and it was a beautiful book. I think it was one of the first or only literary fiction books I've actually finished. Because sometimes those can be so dense that it's hard to really wrap your head around it. But I intentionally sought time after completing that book for at least 2 or 3 days to really think about what the book meant to me, what parallels that I see in my life with the life of the main character, whose name is escaping me right now. But what did that mean in terms of the different versions of her life that she lived? I think her name was Jenny. I could be wrong. Okay, I'll put the correct name here. But I really sought to think about what did it mean for her to live these different lives and then come back and tell her story. And how does that relate to me as a woman or a young woman, growing into her own, settling down? What does my story look like? What version or what part of my story am I in right now? And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I just closed the book and moved on to the next book. Because when you're in it, it's not as easy to reflect. You don't have the full story yet. And so I encourage you to take moments to reflect on what you ingest. We ingest and consume so much in today's society, but it just like kind of passes through. But I think, especially with art and culture and even conversations, anything that you're ingesting, try to take a moment to sit with it. And I think when you force yourself to take those intentional moments to sit with what you're consuming, it really causes you to think about, how is this impacting me? How is this related to my life? And the more you practice that, I think the more you are sensitive to what you're ingesting. You won't just read anything or watch anything or engage in any old conversation because you're now more in tune with how things impact you. Another benefit of taking the time to think about your life and reflecting on how things have impacted you is you can see all of the places in which you've messed up or all of your shortcomings. And it's not to harp on all the things that you've done wrong. All of us are going to make mistakes, but I think it's beneficial to think about how, like, the grace that you've received, and how you've made it through mistakes or overcome mistakes. I'm sorry, I had to change the light situation up a little bit because it was like giving me a migraine almost. But I was saying that I really want you to think about the ways in which you've needed grace this year and how God has given it to you. I mean, we all have shortcomings, we're all going to make mistakes, but it's not only about the grace that God gives you, because His love is unfailing. He's always going to give you grace. But when you think about all the ways you've messed up or fallen short and how you've been given another opportunity to try again, I really want you to think about how can you be that to other people. It's really easy for us to understand our own mistakes, but are you understanding of other people's mistakes? Are you understanding of how relationships aren't cut and dry? And this is not just romantic relationships. I'm always talking about friendships, familial relationships, romantic relationships. But how are you being gracious to other people? How are you slowing down your life or your reactions to how other people are treating you? That doesn't mean that you forgive and forget and let people continue to harm you or hurt you. But when you slow down and think about how someone might have made a mistake, a genuine mistake, it gives you the opportunity to forgive them by understanding that you could have easily made the same mistake or something similar. Or it gives you the opportunity to say, you know, this relationship is no longer serving me. We're focused on two different things. My life is going this way, yours is going that way, and it's okay. We can amicably split. But if you get so caught up in, well, this person's familiar, they're always around, I've been friends with them for so long, we've been in a relationship for so long, you don't give yourself an opportunity to reflect on how the things that you're engaging in, the people that you're engaging in, are really serving you. And so that's why it's important to slow down and reflect and not just take everything for what it is, because at the end of the day, you'll find yourself depleted. You'll find yourself, maybe confused or unsettled. And that's just because you're kind of going through the motions. And you want to be present in the life that you're creating and curating and not just look back and say, oh, yeah, I remember when I did that, but you don't really remember what it felt like to be in that moment. And another thing about grace is that when you're forgiving yourself, that's how you should be forgiving other people. You can be really easy, like, all right, you messed up or you didn't do it right this time. You'll try again tomorrow. But real quick to cut people off. That's not how we're supposed to operate. We're supposed to be as gracious as we are with others, or as gracious as we are with ourselves, is how gracious we should be with others. This gives them an opportunity to learn how to be a better version, not only for you, but for themselves. Last thing that I like to do when I'm reflecting is I've developed a practice of gratitude. And I learned this from my therapist a few years ago. And I spoke about how I was a person that was always on the go, always running, 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 not really giving myself a chance to celebrate my wins, whether small or big. And so she and I worked together to create a practice of gratitude. So I got these cards last year from Amazon. I no longer shop on Amazon, but I can link some similar cards like this, maybe from Etsy or non Amazon sites. But they're really just note cards, just a note, or you can do a thank you card, and they have envelopes in the back. And so whenever something happens that I'm celebrating, I will write a note here and then I will put it in the back. And I have a number of notes from some towards the end of last year when I started this, and then some from this year. So I'm going to read these all at the end of this year. And they're just notes to myself talking about any wins that I've celebrated, how I feel about myself in that moment, why I'm happy about it, why I'm not. I mean, it's not much that can really fit on this card here, but just enough so that when I go back, I can remember and, well, in the moment, it allows me to stop and celebrate what I've done. But then also, when I go back, I can look at how far I've come. And without this, I think I would kind of forget a lot of the things that I've done. So I'm super excited to get to these. I haven't gotten to them yet, but I will be doing that before 2025 closes out. Something like that might work for you. You might even want to write them on little pieces of paper and put them in a jar and kind of dump them all out once the jar is full and look back at all that you've accomplished. But it's important to find ways to celebrate yourself and show yourself gratitude for all that you've done, especially if you're not someone that tends to celebrate yourself, because I think it will change your perception of the things that you should be grateful for. When you're having a practice of gratitude and celebrating the small wins and the big wins alike, it really helps you to be more present in the moment. So that way you can be less hard on yourself and also less hard on others. Um, any small step, one step forward is still a step in the right direction. And so I think that is what I am encouraging you all to do because I've seen it work so well in my own life. I'm grateful for the small things and the big things and really not brushing things off. Um, because I don't want to look back on my life and not realize all the things that I've done and still feel like, "Ugh, but what if I did this?" Or I regret not being able to do that. I think having a life of regret is something I absolutely don't want because I know how devastating that can be and how much that can torture someone's soul to feel like they live their whole life and they have nothing, not that they have nothing to show for it, but they can't see what they have done and they're not proud of what they've done. So during this holiday season, in the middle of all of the celebrations or the solitude, take some time to reflect on what's going on around you. What do you have to be grateful for? Whether that is life, whether that's health, strength, whether that's a home, whether that's clothes on your back, whether that's food in your stomach, whether that's being in your right mind, whatever it might be, no matter how big or how small, really take an opportunity to slow down, in the midst of all of the motion and really reflect, maybe write it out. It doesn't necessarily have to be a journal. It could be in your notes app. It could be on a card to yourself that you open next year. It could be on a post-it note. But I would say put it out into the world because I think once you put things out into the world, they really are cemented a little bit more. It's not just a passing or a fleeting thought, but it's really something that gets solidified. So write it down, really, take some time to just think about where you are and be grateful. Be grateful that you've made it this far. The days that you thought were impossible are all behind you. So you've overcome. That's something to be grateful for. Not everyone has overcome their hardships or made it to this point right now. And it's important that you celebrate yourself and celebrate all that you've done. Okay, well, the next time we see each other, it's going to be the new year. So I want to wish everybody a happy holidays and a happy new year. Thanks for sticking with me. My next video will be posted on the third Sunday of January, and I look forward to seeing you all then. Make sure you subscribe and turn your post notifications on so you can see when my videos come out. Until next time, bye.